Every time your dog greets you at the door and nudges your hand, you feel that familiar, wet, cold sensation. For generations, pet owners have passed down an unwritten rule. If a dog's nose is wet and cold, it's perfectly healthy. If it's dry and warm, it's time to worry. But have you ever wondered why nature made them wet? It's not just a random anatomical quirk or the result of constant licking. Beneath that shiny layer of moisture lies one of the most sophisticated biological radars on the planet. Welcome to FastSimply. Today, we are going to explore why dogs actually have wet noses and why a dry nose isn't always a cause for panic. Chapter 1. A biological scent magnet. The main reason for the moisture lies in how dogs perceive the world. While we humans rely primarily on vision, a dog's world is painted in scents. Their sense of smell is tens of thousands of times sharper than ours. But to catch a scent, it's not enough to have sensitive receptors. Scents are physical molecules floating in the air. This is where the wet nose acts as a microscopic magnet. A thin layer of mucus produced by special glands inside the nasal cavity actively attracts and dissolves these airborne particles, allowing the dog to pick up information much more efficiently than a dry nose could. Think of the difference between catching a tennis ball with a dry hand versus a hand coated in honey. Moisture on the nose works like that honey, collecting information from the air without missing a single detail. Chapter 2. Tasting the World with Jacobson's organ. Now, let's answer a question every owner has asked. Why do they constantly lick their noses? It seems like simple hygiene, but it's much more complex. When a dog licks its nose, it collects those trapped scent molecules. Then, by pressing its tongue against the roof of its mouth, it sends these samples to a unique tool, the vomeronasal organ, or Jacobson's organ. In fact, this organ bridges smell and taste. By sending the molecules collected from the nose to the Jacobson's organ, the dog is literally tasting the scent. This mechanism allows them to read incredibly fine chemical information. They can understand other animals' emotions through pheromones, determine who was there before them, and even sense hormonal changes in a human. Without that layer of moisture, this sophisticated chemical laboratory wouldn't work. Chapter 3. The built-in air conditioner. But smell isn't everything. A wet nose performs a critical role in thermoregulation. In other words, it helps the dog cool down. Unlike humans who have millions of sweat glands all over their bodies, dogs can't sweat through their skin to shed heat. Their thick fur gets in the way. Their sweat glands are located only on their paw pads. So, on a hot day or after a run, they need another way to cool off. They do this by panting, but moisture on the nose also acts as a mini air conditioner. As water evaporates from the surface of the nose, it naturally cools the blood circulating in that area of the nasal cavity, which helps protect the brain from overheating. Chapter 4. Why a dry nose is normal. And what about the myth of the dry nose? In reality, your dog's nose can become dry and warm for many perfectly normal reasons. When an animal is sleeping, it doesn't lick its nose, so it can be dry upon waking. Direct sunlight, dry indoor air, or a draft can also dry out this thin membrane very quickly. So, a dry nose by itself isn't an illness. It's just a temporary state of this complex natural mechanism. A wet dog nose isn't just a cute detail. It's a powerful radar, a chemical laboratory, and an air conditioning system, all combined into one small, shiny organ. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe to FastSimply, and stay with us to learn more stories hidden in the smallest details of our world.